back to the Truther Girls, Sonia and Karen from Canada, and our guest, Scott, from Believers Underground.
It's great having you on the show. You hear about this?
Yeah, it's very interesting, Scott. This is stuff that I don't usually get into so much, except when I'm looking at, maybe something very much in particular regarding HARP or an earthquake, but in general, the global warming thing, I just figured, well, it's a big scam. And I had heard about this stuff, about them putting radiation in the atmosphere, and it does make sense that would cause heating. But right now we're actually having cooling. So the ice caps are not melting because of heating. They are melting, but it's because of radiation. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
That would explain it.
That's pretty bad. I've also been told that it's possible that the reason that they're putting these particles in the atmosphere is to now shield the Earth from this radiation that they've caused.
It's called radioactive forcing of aerosols, which is pretty funny because they were blaming aerosols for causing the hole in the ozone, yet they're spraying aerosols.
Yeah, and they're spraying the aerosols now to prevent us from getting too much radiation from the radiation they put up there in the first place?
Well, that's for the feedback effect. That's the geoengineers, but there's a lot of fingers in this pie. Everyone wanted a piece of this action, from the scientists to the DOE, which is your Chan guy. He's all up into CERN and the Hadron Collider and atomic energy, and this stuff is a death bomb for the planet. It's unreal.
Yeah, can't think of anything worse.
You look at, say, all your freak storms and crazy weather, okay? That's all a byproduct of all that fresh water that's in the ocean. Salt, when it mixes with water, it freezes at a lower temperature, 28 degrees, where water will freeze at just clear water will freeze at 32 degrees. So once you have all this water and the lighter water that doesn't have the salt in it takes a long time to mix up. So all that fresh water is on the top of the ocean. And then you got, 2-3 foot layer, whatever, of fresh water. And then you got all the salt water. So what happens is this stuff evaporates quicker, and it causes a lot more of this ice to be displaced on land masses, too. But it all causes more pressure, on the Earth in a place it never had pressure before. It has a dynamic that is just incredible. But you're going to see more and more storms, more and more unpredictable lightning storms, all kinds of different effects because of this fresh water that's sitting on top of the salt water. So you'll see cooling periods and cooling trends. But all of this stuff is just a part of the same anomaly of post-glacial rebound.
Well, I have a question. If this water, this fresh water, it's melting and it's going into the ocean and it's adding pressure and this is pushing down on the bottom of the ocean, but wouldn't that displace land so that land would come up?
Correct.
So where's the land coming up? Because it's not going to go nowhere. It's not going to just compact it towards the center of the Earth, right? It's going to move it around. So are there areas where land is coming up more? Is that what's causing the earthquakes? Is that what you're saying? It's moving stuff and that's pushing it up?
Oh, well, as the floor of the ocean has to adjust because it's land. And then underneath that land is magma. In that land mass that's underneath the water, you have piping systems. You got water going through that. You got oil going through it. You got gas going through it. You got all kinds of pockets, empty pockets, all kinds of stuff. But as that weight pushes down, it has to crack and drop as it's pulling this water in to receive it. So you'll see the islands sinking, but the coastline of the continent is where you're going to see the land lift up. So you got the ocean pushing down, but you got the land lifting up. That's why I said on the coast of Chile, they probably gained another 5-10 feet of real estate.
Oh.
After that 9.5 quake they had in 1960, because this melt's been going on since the 50s.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it's really going now. Like a woman in travail, her water broke. And so after that quake in 1960, they ended up with about 20 feet of extra shoreline. You know, these are the things they don't talk about.
Yeah, they sure don't. We don't hear about that. So this would really go contrary to what they're saying. They're trying to tell us that all this water is going to flood inland in North America, but which we already talked about before. But if this is what's happening, is that it's pushing down and it's displacing it, and then the coastlines will actually raise up. But you're going to have all kinds of disasters coming along with that. But flooding doesn't sound like it'd be one of them, because you're actually going to have more coastline. And meanwhile, the islands will be going down more. Is that basically the idea?
Yeah, your main problem is going to be volcanoes. Every time the ocean floor drops a little more, it's like a sponge, okay? And that dirt material underneath it is the magma material. And it pushes down on that dirt area. The magma is how can you say, liquid. It's fluid. It'll move. So as that ocean floor drops, it causes a magma wave, which pushes it right towards the volcanoes. It's kind of interesting with that set of quakes yesterday or over the weekend, because you got a whole set of volcanoes all the way through there. It's almost like lining up the set of volcanoes for like a year or two out. It's like your 2012. Wasn't that where the Aztec area was down there near Chile and stuff?
The Aztecs, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that whole area could be just utterly destroyed by fire from these volcanoes.
Well, the whole Pacific Rim is full of volcanoes, so you could have volcanoes going off everywhere. What about Yellowstone? Because that's a caldera.
Oh, yeah. After the quake hit off of Cascadia about, I guess, 2 months ago. Matter of fact, you had one up on Cascadia near Vancouver. You had a 6.6. And then they had the one near Oregon, which was a 6.5. And then within about 2 days, Yellowstone went active. 2 days after that, Hawaii went active. They're going to continue to adjust and readjust as the water leaves the ice pack.
So, do you think Yellowstone's going to blow?
Yeah.
It could, huh?
Oh, yeah. That
like at any point?
What's that?
Like at any point it could just blow, or?
Well, you have this entire rift right there. It runs about 1,000 miles. And basically, it's going to get to the point where the water in the ocean's so heavy, it's just going to snap. And it's going to cause a continental rebound effect. It's just going to pull the continent out at those calderas or rifts. I'm seeing that anomaly already starting to take place. We're getting a lot of activity in the rifts. Seattle and Washington areas started to get active again, Mount St. Helens and stuff. All these big quakes that are happening right off the coast, they're just setting up the next disaster, and that's the magma.
That sounds pretty bad. Do you think that there's any remedy that can be taken, or is this just a runaway train? Like you said, it's a woman, like her water broke, and this is just pretty much going to run its course. Do you think that, is this like a real threat to humanity as a whole, or do you think we can somehow survive this? Or would we want to?
It's a big threat to humanity, a big one. Matter of fact, the 2030 report that came out of Washington, I think it was in September of 2008. I have the video up on my YouTube thing. But they said basically everybody underneath the 40th parallel would be considered second world, or what's that called, third world people. So I guess, and Washington's included. They're on the 33rd. So they're talking some pretty drastic stuff. Now, I also found